Hi guys, and welcome to part 43 of Skyrim Mod Sanctuary. This video is a midweek special, and it's going to focus on a single mod, and that mod is automatic variants. One of the sort of weaknesses of games like Skyrim are the fact that creatures generally tend to look like clones of each other. So if you look at a load of skeevers, they all look the same. They're the same colour, the same shade, they have the same markings. And the same is true if you look at, say, the undead creatures. There are several different types, and there are a few different models. But when you look at one particular model, every single instance of it is identical. Same shades, same colours, etc. But with Automatic Variations mod, if you have more than one texture for a creature, when it first spawns that creature, it will randomly assign it one of the available textures. So when dogs get spawned, there'll be subtly different shades of dog. Just, not hugely different. It's up to you. It depends which textures you have picked. When you meet wolves, they could be varied in their coloration. And again, depends on the texture packs you choose. You're going to find skeevers that are darker than others. Some are going to be grey, some will be brown, reddy brown. And if you're using texture packs that give you this, you can even get green skeevers. Don't worry, it's completely customizable. It's totally up to you which textures you want to use. And I mean, this could be applied to lots of different creatures, werewolves, falmers. It can be applied to horses even, giving you a lot more variety in game. And another major strength for this mod is if other mod authors who create texture packs package their mod in the correct manner for this mod, you can use them all together. You can use Bellyache's animal retextures and another mod author's texture packs if you want. And this mod will select from both mods, or if you've got 4 or 5 mods installed, all with different texture packs for the same creature, it will randomly pick from all of them. So you get a completely different experience each time you meet that creature. Now, the downside to automatic variants is that it is slightly more complicated to install than your average mod. Don't let that put you off. I'm going to take you through the process. It's not complicated and it's not difficult, but it is new for a lot of people. And it does involve a slightly larger time commitment to your modding, and I'll explain why as we go along. But I realise that a lot of people who are new to modding from Skyrim are very much used to the Nexus Mod Manager or some other type of mod manager. Click, download, done. And this is going to be a little step up, but as I said, don't worry about it. It's not difficult, and it doesn't require any special computer knowledge, but it does require a little bit more than normal. Okay, so let's get on with it. Go to the file section of automatic variants. Hit the download with manager for the AV stable beta. That's the current version. This is the main file. And you're also going to need some AV packages. Those are the packages that actually contain the textures. And 3 of them are already loaded on this main page. There's Bellyache's, Insanity Sorrows, and I have no idea how to say that. Whatever. This guy. Downloaded manager on those if you want them. I hit downloaded manager for all 3 of them, so I've got the main file plus these 3 optional files. For other AV packages, if you go to the main page, he does link to current pages. So if I go to StarX's AV page, I could download any of these packages. As you can see, he's got a package for different creatures, one for Falmer, one for Drower, etc. Pick the one you want if you want one of those. I'm not going to install those yet. I'm just going to stick with the 3 that come on the main mods page, because they will give us enough to show you what is going on. So once Nexus Mod Manager has downloaded those, you're going to need to activate them. Again, this step's pretty much as normal. So activate the main mod, yes to all when asked to overwrite. The Bellyaches, now because this is an optional file as part of the main mod and it's got a different version number, you get this warning. Don't worry about it. When you see this type of thing, a different version of has already been detected and installed, it usually means it's an optional file that you've downloaded of a different version. Click no, so it installs normally. And these are actually the big files. Believe it or not, these optional files, they're the ones with the textures, so they're the ones that probably took quite a long time to download and to install. I'm going to do Insanity Sorrows package next. Again, no. And once that's done, find the guy whose name I shall not attempt to butcher any further and activate that as well. Now once those have finished activating, if you go to your plugins, you'll not see anything new yet. You will not see any new files for this mod. They've not been created yet. Even though all the files are now in place, you've still got a few things to do. Close down Nexus Mod Manager at this point. You sort of need it to be closed down so that when you reopen it, it detects the new file that you're going to build. I'll show you how to do that now. If you go along to your Skyrim data folder, you will see a folder called SkyProc Patches. Go into there and you should see automatic variants. Go into there and you'll see quite a few folders, including the AV packages. Now we're just going to nip in there and have a look. And you'll see Bellyaches Animals, Insanity Sorrow, and all copied here. This means these have been installed correctly. If you are downloading any other packages, hopefully they will have set their installation up correctly so that you can do exactly the same thing, download with the manager, and these files should appear here. If they've not been packaged correctly, you may actually have to copy them to here. This is where all AV packages must go. So inside I'll go back again to Data, SkyProc Patches, Automatic Variants, AV Packages. This is where all the packages are going to go. And basically, they need to be packaged a certain way. So hopefully any that you download will appear here. So it's the easiest thing to do is just hit download with manager with one, activate it, and if it appears in here, everything's fine. If not, you might want to check the instructions that the mod author has given for how to install it. I honestly think most mod authors will package it correctly, so you probably don't have to worry. Okay, so having said that, we've now got these three packages. They're correctly placed. So go back to the automatic variants. You'll find a README. Go into there and open this up. And this will give you full instructions on how to install it. And I do suggest you read it. But what is important here is to run this mod, to get it to do what it needs to do, you need Java 7 installed. And he's given you a nice little link here as to where you can get it. So if you've downloaded the latest version of Automatic Variants and you click on the README, I am pretty sure it will always have the latest link to whatever it is you need to install. If you have not got Java 7 installed, click on that link and it will take you to a place where you can accept the license agreement and download what you need to download for the system you want. Okay? So I'm going to leave you to install that. I already have this installed. And if I go back to the automatic variants, this file here, I know I've got it installed because there's a nice little friendly icon here telling me that Java is going to run this. See, that's that. It's kind of difficult to see actually. Maybe I can go to, there you go, bigger. As you can see, this is the Java symbol, and my system knows to run this file, a jar file with Java. So I've got it installed. If you don't, install it. To be honest, it's such a useful thing to have installed. Probably most of you've already got it installed. Okay, so you've got your files in place. You've got Java installed. Here's the next step. double click on the jar file and it will run it using Java 7, and you get this lovely little message. If you open the other settings, you get a few different settings. This is probably not something you need to worry about. What you're looking for are the texture variants. If you change your mind and don't want to install this, click cancel. Do not click the close button. The close button will in fact run the program. Not totally sure, I'm not sure that's necessarily the best idea, but if you want to quit without doing anything, cancel. Anyway, so we go to the texture variants. I've clicked open. It shows me the AV packages I've got: Bellyaches, Insanity, and so go to Bellyaches, and you can see all these different types. I go to Bear, and you can see the texture here. This is the Bear texture. These are all the different textures. Now, that is currently enabled. I can actually disable it, and you'll see it goes grey. It now will not install the bear skin. I'm going to enable it again. And so on. This is the bear, the cave bear, and so on. Let's find something like the skeever. Now, if I go to skeever and go to skin, you'll notice this one's got brown, dark grey, grey, and so on. But let's just say I don't like the dark grey or the mangy dark grey. I can disable those two. And as you can see, those two have disabled, those four are enabled. So I can choose which one I want. I can also disable the entire lot of them, the entire skeever, or enable all of them just by selecting one of these. And so on. So you can go through these, pick which ones you want and which ones you don't want. If there's only one texture you want, you could actually just disable the entire Bellyaches, then go along to the one texture you wanted, which was say the dapple light horse, and enable. Now it's only going to do one texture. That's the only texture that's going to be controlled by the automatic variants, and so on. So as you can see, it's completely up to you. Now I'm going to enable all of Bellyaches. Insanity's Sorrow, I believe he has some odd skeevers. Yes. There is a pink skeever, which as you can see I've disabled. Another pink one. I actually think I don't like that one either, the slightly purpley ones. I don't know what they're called, and I don't like the green one. So I'll disable the green ones and just leave these. Oh, and I don't like the leopard skin ones as well. Leopard skin skeevers. But the rest of them, pretty cool. Slightly different variations. And that's it. So just go through this list, decide which ones you want, and have them. And if you try them all and you change your mind, you see a texture, you think, oh God, I hate that, you can always come back and change it. Perfectly normal to do that. Mammoth, I believe there's a pink mammoth I've disabled. Yes, pink mammoth. There you go. This was part of this one. Some people might like pink mammoths. I don't know. That's what modding's for, catering to all tastes. So once you've finished, once you have got everything selected, close, and it will start working. Leave this for a few minutes, let it do its thing. And once it finishes, it will simply disappear. Now, what's happened here is if I go back to data, it has now installed some textures into the AV packages. Under textures, AV packages, I have a lot of different folders. And in the data folder itself, there is now an automatic variants. I can now open Nexus Mod Manager. Once the Mod Manager has opened, go down to the bottom, you will see automatic variants. And you need to select it. Leave it at the bottom. You'll notice it's got a lot of masters, including Winterhold, Destruction, Convenient Horses. It has gone through my mod list and decided where different places have added creatures that are under the control of this mod. It has now added the option for them to have alternative textures as well. So it is literally made itself compatible with all of these mods, which is brilliant. It's a very, very powerful way of doing things. And now I'm set. I'm ready to go. This mod is now installed correctly. Now, as I said to you, it was going to be a case where it adds a little bit more of a time demand when modding from now on, and this is true. Because, for example, let's say I decided to uninstall Winterhold Destruction. If I uninstalled Winterhold Destruction, I will... Where is that? Winterhold Destruction and Expanded Winterhold. Let's have a look. Winterhold Destruction. If I basically uninstall those and I now run my game, it will crash. It will crash because Automatic Variants uses it. When I do this, every time I change my mod list, whether I remove a mod or I add a mod, it is fairly important that I then deselect this. Well, you can actually leave it selected, but close down Nexus Mod Manager, go back to SkyProc patches, go to the Automatic Variants jar, double click it again. Hopefully your textures should have been remembered, as mine were, and we'll check. There you go, Pink Mammoth disabled, and then hit the red X again, and once again it starts to update. This time it knows those two have been removed, and it builds a new ESP file for me, this time one built specifically for my load order. And as I said, every time you change your load order, this is something you need to do. It's the same sort of thing as if you've played Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. It's very similar to if you have a merge patch. If you're using Wirebash, it's like a bash patch. It's the sort of thing you should do every time you change your load order. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about with those things, don't be scared of having to do this. Do not be scared of having to do this. It's actually fairly normal. For those of us who've been modding a long time, as you mod more and more, it becomes almost essential to make these things called merge patches or bash patches, and they need to be updated constantly, and they will come even below the automatic variants. Skyrim's not quite there yet because we don't have a Sky Edits program, but obviously if you're using bash patches, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, if I now click on the automatic variants, you'll see it no longer has those files as mastered. It's recreated itself, and once again I'm ready to go. Now uninstallation is a little different, but nothing to worry about, but I am going to show it to you because it probably will help. So if I want to uninstall automatic variants, what I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect and close Nexus Mod Manager. I am then going to go along to the data folder and delete by hand the automatic variants. So I've just deleted it by hand. You then go along to the textures, the AV packages, and delete that as well. That is no longer needed. That's the AV packages in textures. I then restart Nexus Mod Manager. Now the mod is technically no longer installed. However, if you go along to the Nexus Mod Manager will still believe it is installed because we've activated it here. If you want to be completely safe, go along to the files you activated and deactivate those. Now, one question that's going to come up is, will this affect your performance? And my honest answer is, I have no idea whatsoever. If the textures are higher definition, of course, that's going to affect your frame rate slightly. But the fact that there are more textures could mean that at any one moment the game has loaded more textures. If it's only loading textures for one wolf, it probably won't matter which texture it's loading. But if it's loaded, say, 6 wolves, and it's loaded a different texture for each wolf, that's more memory taken up. So if you have a system that's running out of memory, this is probably not a good mod for you. But if you've got a system with a lot of spare memory, you may not notice a performance drop. I don't think I'm noticing a performance drop. So, but as I said, this is something I cannot say for sure. It's going to be system dependent, and it could well depend on sheer look of the draw. If you enter a spawn and 20 things spawn, each with a separate texture all at once, you may get a sort of a stutter as everything's being loaded. I don't know. I've never had that, but it's possible because you are now loading more textures. But on the other hand, you might have this installed and never even notice it, apart from the fact that everything's beautifully varied. But that is really all I have to say about this mod. As you know, I mean, I realize I've spent way more time on the installation process than on showcasing it, but honestly, the mod doesn't need that much showcasing. It's a pretty simple concept, even though it's an amazingly good idea. But obviously, the installation, a little bit more involved. So I hope you don't mind that I took a bit more time than normal on it. And as usual, I'm going to finish with some screenshots that you guys have made. If you want to post screenshots for me to put in these videos, you can follow the link I'll put down below to my Skyrim Mod Sanctuary Nexus page and post the images there. You're more than welcome to do that, and I will try and post as many as I can each episode. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful. If it was, please click the like button. I always appreciate that. I look forward to seeing you guys on my next video, whatever that is. And until then, as always, have fun.